Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. In this video, I want to remind you, because again, I'm making remind videos now. I want to remind you that most people in the world, they have a backwards way of thinking. And because of this, they process things in a backward manner. Let's say, for example, I'm not saying everyone does this, okay? Not everyone does this, okay? But it's common, but doesn't mean it's absolute, okay? Let's say there is this kid, and the kid's in the supermarket, and the kid is screaming, and suddenly the father smacks the kid. The kid falls onto the ground, hurts itself. Sorry, I'm just woke up, so maybe a bit sleepy. But now, the child is screaming and crying, and the guy is raging. This is obviously child abuse publicly. So people around ought to stand up and say, hey, what the heck's wrong with you, guy? Hitting a kid like that. Huh? They should deal with the guy instantly. But now people don't do it. People just stay out of it. It's none of their business. They want to respect the couple's privacy. And at home, there was a married couple there that saw what happened, an elder couple, and the wife said, this doesn't add up. This should be reported. But the husband said, yeah, but the kid was annoying. What? No. There's a 2-year-old kid that can't reason. That kid, let's say whether it's a girl or a boy, doesn't matter. That kid cannot protect him or herself. They can't get their own resources. So when the parents aren't functioning well, that's the only thing the kid can do. And it doesn't matter whether it's in public or not, the parents ought to be in order. And no man, or neither a woman, but nobody who's older, stronger, and has more body mass has a right to release their frustrations on someone that's weaker just to feel good about themselves. That's cowardly. That's pathetic. That's negative. That shouldn't be praised under any circumstances. There you had a small kid. It happened. And people just let it happen because of privacy reasons. I don't care about so-called privacy reasons. Where it happened in their home and in public. You don't treat a kid like that. No. But a lot of people in the world, in order to hold on to their values, in order to hold on to social validation, they say it's their lives, their privacy, where am I, so my kid, blah, blah. It's wrong. And as a believer, I'm telling you, when you have people around you that are enforcing this backwards thinking upon you, in this case, I use example of violence against children, which is an obvious evil that still people are tolerating to remain civil, which they shouldn't tolerate. If even violence amongst adults is not tolerated, not even by the satanic governments of this world, then why are people permitting it to happen to kids? Yeah, the kid needs to be respectful, okay. So let's say you're walking down the street, okay, someone doesn't greet you, and you feel upset. Are you now entitled to hate that individual or do something to the individual to cause some consequence on individuals that others will know? If you don't greet me back, something's going to happen to you. So now you have a right to validate yourself by causing harm to someone else? You're telling me that? Or what if there's a guy who's a bit horny and there's a woman passing by and she's wearing a kind of a short skirt and the guy is whispering at her and all of that, but the woman doesn't want to give in. And the guy feels upset. Does he have the right to teach her respect by not being rude, because rudeness is when you don't give in to the expectation of someone? We won't tolerate that. We call it violence against women, we say that's rape, blah blah blah, we won't take it. But you can't do it with kids? Out of respect, to preserve the validation of an adult that shouldn't be seeking validation of a small human being in the first place? In this case, I use the example of violence against kids. But backwards thinking relates to many other stuff. I'm not going into all those other stuff right now. But anytime you have people around you that are enforcing this backwards thinking upon you, it's a demon using them to get you in the negative. Because demons depend upon the human population operating and remaining in the negative. So humans will keep remaining that waste energy so demons can be empowered so they can act out the rule of Satan in the earth. So anytime you deviate or you remove yourself from the negative, demons will retaliate against you, especially if you are a believer. Especially when you are a believer. And one thing demons do is they use sometimes other believers who are not delivered yet, but they use people around you. I'm talking to you believers. Sometimes demons use people around you to enforce backwards thinking upon you. And often we don't realize it's backwards thinking because that's the type of thing society validates. Or maybe there are two options. For example, someone doesn't like something and they just open their mouth and reveal it. They just open it honest. They don't take crap from anyone. They just open their mouth. And there are people who remain quiet, but they talk behind someone's back. Now, whether you talk behind someone's back or you say to someone's face is both evil. You shouldn't be in a negative, shouldn't think negatively about anyone, and especially should not defend your negative thinking by being open and transparent about it. To give people the right to be negative as long as they're transparent and so-called honest about it, that is giving space to Satan to operate in the earth. You don't do that. Nobody has a right to will the negative or to have a negative will. Nobody. Nobody. Okay? Because Christ is Lord, and he will not take it. And he's Lord of heaven and earth. So agree with Christ. And anytime you sense that someone is trying to push his backwards thinking upon you, it's a paranormal agenda. Lower your contact with such an individual. You don't have to expel them or block them on social media and all that. You don't have to cause trauma. Please don't do any of that, but lower contact with them. Because those people, they have ways of thinking that energize demons, and they have no intention of being responsible by turning away from their own unexamined expectations. And such people, let me tell you, when it becomes obvious that their expectations don't work out, instead of looking at themselves and acknowledging their contribution, they'll look for someone to take it out upon. And if you are someone that does not operate in negative, but you operate in the light, the fact that you operate in the light already frustrates them. So they will seek for some excuse to blame you, to become violent against you. They will not become violent against society that conditioned them to think in such a backwards manner. No, but you who operate in the truth will become upset with you because they're somehow going to blame you, because of you operating in the light, now the darkness is revealed what it is. And they're going to think if the darkness was never revealed, they could seek relief still. Instead of seeking deliverance and dealing with the root, and you deal also with the root by giving up the social validation of society, but you don't want to go that far. They're going to blame you for frustrating their relief. Look, as a believer, you walk by faith. You operate in supernatural. You walk in love towards everyone, but you can't walk in love with everyone. I've said it often, and let me repeat it. You walk in love towards everyone. That's your attitude. But you will not walk in love with everyone because that's not possible. And about this thing about violence against children, just think about it the following way. If someone enters a store with a gun and he shoots, and he says to the one behind the desk, or desk, what it tells, give me the money now. Would he walk in without a gun saying, give me the money? No. He needs to have a physical advantage that can harm you in order to threaten you to give him the money. Or else you wouldn't give him the money. Criminals have intelligence. If you have a store where there are customers that are armed, let me say it's known that the customers that go to that store are often armed, the criminal won't go there. Because if he would pick up his gun, someone else can suddenly pick up his gun, he may be experienced in using the gun, and it's over. He may be even wounded. He can even die. In this case, the criminal is using the threat of harm to force to comply with what he wants. And we say that's wrong. We don't want this traumatic. But you can do it with kids. If those kids have a small brain, they're the most easily manipulated creatures there are because they can't think for themselves. But yet you have to use the threat of harm on them, whether emotionally or psychologically or physically. By the way, emotional and mental harm will always result in physical harm later in life. And this will also cause the child, whilst growing up, to be open to demonic possession or demonic infiltration. So it's worth it to sell someone out to demons by causing shocks in them in order to make them comply with respect. I'm sorry, but something doesn't add up with this, especially when believers are defending this. If you don't know the third way or another way to deal with it, you humble yourself, you go into prayer, and you receive knowledge from the Holy Spirit and wisdom how to deal with children, with your spouse, and with everyone else. But you're not going to resort to violence just to validate self. I don't take that. And don't come in this comment section defending it because I block you immediately. And if you keep on harassing me trying to convince me of that backwards thinking, I'll put you under judgment also. And those demons working through. That being said, agree with Christ and be at peace.